Happy feast of Christ's entry into Jerusalem. Today is like the greatest day ever. When we celebrate this feast, the church in all of its hymns, from the youngest children to the oldest people, from like the beginning to the very end, we're just like screaming our hearts out. And that's the best. It's the best because what's coming out of us, what's coming out of each and every one of us, has to be a fragrant oil being offered to the Lord. You see in this gospel, Mary, the sister of Lazarus and Martha, came and she poured out a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. You see, this morning her brother was raised from the dead. She understood many things about the person of Jesus. Like, she said that she understood, like at the raising of Lazarus, she says, yeah, I know that at the end of times will be risen. He says, no, I am the resurrection of life. I want to take your level of understanding of who I am to another level. Then we know Jesus went, he raised Lazarus from the dead, and did what surpassed everybody's understanding. And so her natural response, when she could see who the person of Jesus was, is that she became wasteful on Jesus. She gave it all. She took this pound of very costly spikenard and she just laid it out on him. She just poured it all over him. She threw it at his feet. She just gave it completely to him. You see, today is the day that we come and our praise can't just be something with our mouths, but it's the giving of ourselves completely to the one that raises the dead. You see, we start the week with resurrection and we end with resurrection. The church is giving you an understanding of who you are and everything that Christ desires to give to you. He desires to give brand new life. And when Mary understood this, when she understood that Jesus was the resurrection and the life, she came and she poured it all out at the feet of Jesus. This week requires the same level of devotion. If you don't start out this week right now, that I'm going to give it all, you're going to attend some long services with a lot of reading, a lot of hours. I think it's almost like 55 hours that you're going to be in church this week. 55 hours. If you are not ready to understand the gift of Christ for each and every one of us, that He has come to raise you from the dead, until you understand that, you'll never be able to do what Mary did. Everything will look as like too much. It's too much. I can't do it anymore. But there are people who, when they understand what Christ has given them, and that Christ has returned her brother and given him life, he's surpassed all understanding, the only thing left is to what? Give it all. To give it all. There's no cost. There's no thinking about how much it's going to cost me. Well, let me see, if I waste all of it now, it's going to cost me X amount, I'm going to save some money here. You just throw it at His feet. When you understand, and that's why it's important that this reading it's coming tonight, so that tomorrow, when you're asking Him and you're saying, Hosanna to the King of Israel, Hosanna in the highest, you're saying, you are King of my life. But talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. To come before the Lord and just say, come be King of my life, but you can't. It's a very, very expensive word to say. It's a very costly word to say, that you say, come and be king and reign. Your word is my command. Your word is my command. Just say the word. Whatever you say to me, I'm going to obey. I'm asking you now, before we start this Holy Week, are you coming to bring your whole self to throw it at the feet of Jesus? To throw everything you know about your being and you throw it at the feet of Jesus and you say, Lord, I'm in desperate need of a Savior. I'm in desperate need of resurrection. I'm in desperate need of salvation. You see, she threw it at the one who she finally could conceive was her Savior. Who else could give life? And who else could give life on the fourth day? I'm asking you to not calculate anything this week. Do your best to not look at your watches like how much longer is left in the service, how much longer is left in the sermon, how much longer is left until we get to eat, how much longer is left. Give it all. Don't count. Don't count anything. When you come to give to the poor, don't count. When you come to give to the church, don't count. When you come to give to service to your family, don't count the cost. You just give it all as an offering before the Lord. You see, I love looking at those that serve Jesus and they go before Him and they say, Lord, I cannot pay you back fast enough. I cannot give back to you fast, and I cannot give as much to you as you give to me. So I'm going to try just to give it all. I want you in the next week, I'm going to do the best of my ability to do the same. I'm hoping that we can stop counting. Don't count anything. Don't count how many hours of sleep you need. Don't count how many meals you need to be able to get through your day. Don't count how many cups of coffee. Don't how many dollars you give. This week, if you want to experience the one who gave all, see how difficult it is for you to give the little things that I'm talking about. A little bit more time in prayer. A little bit more money. A little bit more energy. A little less sleep. See how difficult it is for you to give those things. You see, when Mary gave that, she began to understand, and she had no clue. She began to understand 1/1000th of what she was going to see in that week. So don't count. Today, from now until next Easter, if you find yourself calculating anything, your love is being calculated. In order for you to understand the love that you cannot calculate, that has no measure, begin for yourself to start saying, okay, I'm going to give as much as I can. As much as I have, I'm going to give. And see how you'll experience the love. And I want you throughout this week to begin to measure in every circumstance how much He gave. How much He gave for the zeal of God. How many tears He gave for the Jerusalem that He tried to gather with like a hen gathers her chicks. How much He gave in washing the feet. How much He gave at the cross. And when you can see and measure how much is given, you say, I still can't give everything. Even when I give everything, I'm giving nothing. When you begin to understand Him. So I pray that we would start, or I should say, stop measuring and give it all. If you're going to sing your hearts out this week, Hosanna to the King of Israel, Hosanna to the highest, who cares if you lose your voice? Who cares how much, whatever? Just give your whole being. And believe me, Christ says, if anyone desires to be my disciple, let him take up his cross and follow me. He who does not forsake all cannot be my disciple. You see, you want to go to the cross. He's asking you to forsake all. I pray that this week we would begin to understand the love that is without measure and is unconditional for each and every one of us. And glory be